How's it going, guys? Welcome to the channel. This is just a quick little run over my opinions on the M+M M10X. See a lot of mixed reviews on this one. Just wanted to share my thoughts and give you guys a little insight on maybe if you want to get one. So I got so far about 500 rounds. I run the just cheap norinco, steel case, copper wash, non-corrosive stuff. Because this doesn't have a chrome lined barrel, and I just really don't feel like cleaning her every time I take her out shooting. I haven't cleaned this rifle once since I got it. 500 rounds, cheap Chinese surplus, still runs flawless. I run it on gas setting 1. I see a lot of people have issues with the surplus stuff, and doesn't really seem to affect me too much. I know they've made a lot of improvements on these guns over the last couple of years. I know the earlier renditions had a really bad review, and were very unreliable depending on what you were shooting and what magazines you were using. This one has the new and improved magazine release. I run pmags. I haven't had any issues with my pmags. Not the Gen 3s, but the older MOE models. When I was initially doing the break-in period, the first 50 to 100 rounds or so, I had a very light oil coating on the bolt, and I had some, I live in Canada, so my magazines are pinned to 5. I would have 1 in the chamber and 5 in the magazine, and I believe it's the magazines are a little bit tight. I've heard a lot of people complaining that the magpul pmag gets pinned pretty tight in Canada, and a lot of people repin them. I myself haven't done that yet, but the first shot with a full magazine and 1 in the tube would short stroke. So instead of doing a full cycle, it would cycle back and eject the spent casing, but it wouldn't go far enough back to pick up the next round, and it would get stuck. So I ran it on gas setting 2 for a short period. That did solve the issue, but it also increased the recoil quite a bit, and the gun was getting actually quite gassy. It was blowing it back in my face and all that sorts of fun stuff, and nobody wants to shoot like that unless you're a little different. But I run a vortex crossfire 2 on here, and I run a 25-yard zero. Accuracy, not terrible. It is a minute-a-man kind of application, even though it does have an 18.5-inch barrel. Don't expect 1-inch groups out of these. They're not built with that intention, and if you're expecting that, go buy a bolt action. That's my opinion. Might get some hate for that. Don't really care. Safety was very tight when I initially got it. I got some of that, I can't think of the name brand off the top of my head right now, but got some of that gun grease, the thicker stuff, the white stuff. Put some of that on there because I didn't want it dripping out and getting my hands all oily when I'm out shooting and stuff. So put a little bit of that on there, and it's starting to get a little easier now to actuate. But when I first got her, trying to actuate it when you were in the with your hand in firing position was very tight. Almost had to flip your thumb to the other side and crack her down. So a quick little look at the guts. After 500 rounds, these guns run pretty clean. I'll switch over to another camera angle here and give you a look at the inside. Okay, so a quick little peek at the guts here. I already got the stock folded. So just gotta depress the button here. Like I said, I have not cleaned this gun. 500 rounds in. Here's the bolt and carrier. I have seen some people say that there has been galling inside of the cam groove. Mine does not have that issue. I've seen guys complain about that after not even 100 and some rounds. This one does have the upgraded bolt in it. It's got the nitrate coating though. It's not the color case hardened style looking one. As you can see, very grubby. She is very dirty, but still only had a handful of malfunctions, all related to, like I said, with the 5-round magazine. I believe it was because the mags were pinned too tight. That's kind of worked its kinks out, and cycles a lot smoother now. It does have a little bit of wear starting here, but that's pretty normal. A little bit on the inside here too. When I initially got it, like I said, I ran it with very light oil, and I have found that after the first 200 and some rounds, I applied a liberal amount of oil and ran the bolt essentially wet, as some people refer to it, and it does run better now. This is not an AK. I would not recommend running it dry. It says in the owner's manual, and I'm also talked to some guys on some forums and stuff, and they do say this is definitely not recommended to be ran dry. You will start to see premature wear. Gas ports, as you can see, I ran it on gas port 2 for a short while, but majority on gas port 1. This is quite stiff now. 500 rounds without cleaning. I'm sure the spring is quite grubby. But doesn't seem to be any wear marks on here. There's a mild little scraper here. I think this is just from me cycling the fire. Gas port looks fairly good. Fire control group stays quite clean. I believe most of that gunk and stuff that's in there is mostly related to when I had it on gas setting 2. Like I said, it was blowing gas back in my face. But yeah, my initial impressions, like I said, not the most accurate gun in the world. I've not really pushed it out too far with the red dot, and some of the accuracy testing that I have done at 100 yards could quite possibly be me. I was looking at 3-inch groups at 100 yards with the occasional flyer, but I don't claim to be the best shot in the world, and if you can get a 1-inch group at 100 yards with a red dot, thumbs up to you. But yeah, that's my initial impressions on this. Gonna put another couple hundred rounds through it and maybe do a long-term review. 500 rounds I know is just kind of, I consider it a break-in period for most semi-automatics, especially a smaller caliber one like this. I'm liking the M-Lock handguard. This is the long handguard version. I've got her hot a couple times. Doesn't seem to do anything weird when she's hot. One thing I will mention though is the receiver pin with the flap right here does back out. After about 150-200 rounds, the first day I had her out shooting, this became finger tight. And I did notice that accuracy was starting to suffer. I put a little bit of blue Loctite on here, tightened her down with 2 flathead screwdrivers. I didn't torque it to spec or nothing. I don't know what the spec is on this. Haven't looked it up yet. But a little bit of blue Loctite, tightened her up, hasn't come loose since. Put another 300 rounds through it, hasn't moved. Well, if you guys got any questions, leave them in the comments. We'll try and get back to you right away.